thanks so much again, everyone, for being part of the program. We really appreciate your participation, and we hope you've had a blast learning about a lot of new things with regards to building your brand startup. So now for the final session, we'd like to welcome Chan Woei Hern, the Executive Creative Director of Ensemble Worldwide. So today, his session, which is called What Founders Should Know Before Talking to Agencies, we'll discuss how you can figure out exactly what your brand needs and what a good agency can deliver to you, as well as how you can actually engage with this agency in order to build a healthy, happy relationship. So everyone, please welcome Chan Woei Hern.
So formal, but thank you. Hi guys. So I'm just gonna click on share screen now. Okay, we can see the screen, yes? Just a quick introduction. I'm Woei Hern. And yeah, today my session is going to be what founders should know before talking to agencies. So if you see this little link at the bottom here, and I see that some of you guys have already logged on to that link. It's actually just a blank canvas for now, but I would like to use the Jamboard as a collaborative space so that after this discussion and also kind of like work together, right? Brainstorming jam session. If you have any questions, I want you all to just click on the post-it note and just put the sticky note there with your question. I'll be looking at the Jamboard over here on my side, and then we can actually jump in and out. So I'm highly interruptible. Let's make this a casual collaborative session. Cool. Yeah, someone just throw in a note. I'll just put a note in. Say hi. On the next page of the Jamboard are some videos that I have attached to the presentation as well. So what I will do is just point you all to the next page and tell you all about the which videos to watch. You all can watch it on the side, or you can watch it a bit later. I don't want to play the videos while we're talking. I just find it really hard to keep the momentum going. But if you all want to watch any of them, you can just click on the tabs later on. I'll run you through the stories of the videos, of course. Okay. Let's go. All right. So a little bit about the work that we've done, Ensemble. We've worked with a couple of startups or like brands that are in the tech space. We were there when my taxi first started out, and they were working in the back office, and we've been doing lots. Even right now, I think this month we're doing a project for Grab. Now that they're Grab, we've done some work for Traveloka. With the agency for Easier, which is Job Street and Jobs DB. So we're deploying their new brand that's going to come out soon. Done a couple of projects for Facebook and Google as well, collaboratively. So yeah, I was just thinking about it as I was updating the deck, and I was like, wow, damn, 20 years. I've been in this for 20 years. Yeah, I met quite a few people from founder level, seeing people, and it's been a really wonderful adventure. And just want to share with you 6 tips to kickstart your relationship with agencies. Cool. So I'm gonna start the first tip with the one that is hard-hitting and the most shocking, right? What founders should know, what marketers, what brands should know that we don't have all the answers. Now, just want to ask a quick question to all of you. When you see this statement, right, what do you see in what do you think about it? Any thoughts about this statement? Well, I'm just looking for the chat bar. I want you all to look at focus on the word we. I think most times agencies, clients, and brands go in with a certain expectation. Go in with is a sense of curiosity. So that would be my first tip to you all. Together, right? So sometimes the right answer isn't the one that you have in front of you, or the head you have in your head. Sometimes giving you guys, and we want you all to help us with getting some brand awareness. Speak instruction rather than a collaborative mindset. I'll give you an example of how a collaborative mindset can actually help. Before that, yeah, I think a good gauge of what kind of relationship or what kind of agency you want isn't the one of the right answers. It's an agency that comes back with the right questions. And now that's worth keeping. So everyone will come back with solutions for you. A lot of times when you go in and speak to agencies, yeah, that's our job. We have to come back with ideas and all that. If there was hang on, what if it's this? Why are you all doing this? Come back with lots of questions. And if you have that mindset, then it's really, really an example. So the Google came to us with a question, right? How can you get more people to understand what Google has to offer? And then that got us thinking. Yeah, so the challenge was that Google has a lot of products, right? They've got a lot of sales, and how do you encourage media planners, media agencies to sort of use all their tools? So it was like a B2B. And the answer isn't always a video or a nice story or stuff. It's actually a very tactical thing. So the team came back and asked another question. We asked them back, how can we get more people excited about learning about what Google has to offer? So I'm going to run you through this here. I don't know if the video. Click on the link. Can you all see the video when I click it?
No, not yet.
Okay, let me see. I will paste it on the Jamboard. And then you guys can check it out, okay? How do I do that? Give me a minute, I'm just gonna paste the link over. Okay, so on page 2 of the Jamboard, there's this link with the word Google there. Just click on it, paste it, and you can watch the video as I run you through the idea. So the idea was we wanted to introduce snackable content, right? So we said, oh, why just make it snackable, like really snackable? So we created a vending machine. Everybody knows that everyone in the office is hungry people that stay up late all night and they just love snacking. So what if we created use that behavior and instead the currency to get the snacks was actually a little pop quiz. So you will have to sort of answer a little quiz about what ad you need or what's trending today, and then little quick snackable questions, and you will, whether it's right or wrong, you will learn something and you will get a snack out of it. So a great hit in the agencies, and yeah, I really feel bad for the HR team because they had to constantly refill the snacks. There, like sometimes when people would ask questions, they get angry. Where's my snack? Where's my muruku? Stuff like that. So yeah, it was kind of like a nice, simple, fun idea that we just do it because we asked the right questions. Yeah. So here's something that next point I wanted to share was that it's a quick rule of thumb, right? Advertising will make a bad product even worse because you get lots of free time, you get lots of attention, but maybe sometimes advertising isn't a problem to solve, right? So if you get the right agency, you can find the right problems to solve, and they're worth keeping. So a lot of times, relationship with agencies and brands can be transactional. I want a video, I want a billboard, I want some. But if you can get into a relationship, we're not getting enough footfall to our physical stores. People signing up, but they're not finishing the transaction. What should we do? The deeper questions we ask, the more interesting the solutions become. And it might not be advertising the answer, right? It might include a video eventually, but it can be so much more than that. So we're in the world of standing out, right? And and I don't know if this is still true, but it's kind of like a running joke that are always building up the idea, right? And so in a world where there's so many hundreds of thousands, I don't know, millions of apps out there, ideas and businesses out there, how do you stand out? There's bound competitor, there's bound to be someone who has a similar come in, because we've been living in the world of word that Uber off since forever. If you look at the chart on the right, these are all just major moves under the giants out there, right? And actually, what's the difference between a Coke and a Sprite soft drinks, or a Heinz ketchup versus another brand of ketchup, or one toothpaste from another? They're all kind of toothpaste, they're all kind of shampoo and all that. And so, yeah, agencies live in the world to actually find something that will stand out or tell a story that will make you stand out. Leads me to the next tip, tip number 2. Know that you are taking a risk, kind of like how your investors are with you as well, right? So the first tip was about the we, right? We don't know. Go into the mindset, go into conversation with a we, collaborative, curious mindset. But now the second tip is more about you, yourself. I think this is quite important because if you set into Saad and Ed's talk, you guys kind of know a little bit about this and get a link about how to go about this. I would just phrase it in a very simple way, because a lot of times when agencies go into a briefing from the clients, if you or a PowerPoint document of your challenge set and all that, it's just really tough to sort of articulate the nuances of your brand. We know what needs to be done, but I think nothing beats this chemistry and this personality and understanding it. And that's the fun part about speaking to founders, because they are the brand, right? So we kind of like can absorb it. But it's also great that if you have a team that embody that vibe, and yeah, it doesn't have to be set in stone, a company vision or written somewhere. That's important as well. But I think if it lives through your culture and people, we get a sense of how receptive or what kind of taste you have for your ideas. That would actually help, right? So how would you talk? How would you sell? How would you stand out? The point is be authentic in everything that you do, whether it's bring forth your brand voice to the audience, or if it's just within yourselves, with your friends, I mean, with your colleagues and all that. That's really important. So the best brands, the most energizing and inspiring are the ones that, you know, when you observe and you look at everyone there, you get a sense of the chemistry and the vibe. I'll give you an example of that, right? So this is, I don't know if you all know that lady on the right. That's Cheryl Goh, right? She's the founding head of marketing for Grab. Back then was My Taxi, and they were running super deep. And I thought it was really hilarious that, you know, she put herself in an ad like this. They didn't have money. Hey, why don't we put some posters at clubs and pubs? And the headline was, if I start to look sexy, book a taxi. So yeah, from just looking at the ads that or the comms they had, you know, we just got a sense that, hey, these guys can, you know, laugh at themselves, and they don't mind putting tickets. Yeah, let's have some fun with you. So we did the opposite. So to show the other side of My Taxi. So this story is about 5 years ago we did this at the start. They didn't have much of in the way of budgets, but what they did have a stick marketing team, right? So if you look at the Jamboard page 2, it's this is the video, My Taxi. Yeah, it's the brief was an interesting one. The brief was, back then, My Taxi started out as, yeah, we want you to hail taxis, but eventually they had to go a larger model, expand to Grab car, right? And so, but taxi was still a very strong um, supply base for them. There was a lot of dissatisfaction by the taxi drivers because they said Grab are taking away their business because they are giving businesses to independent drivers to become transports. So there was some dissatisfaction. Actually, when we went there and looked at the My Taxi team, we really observed something very interesting. We actually observed that the sense of accountability, the sense of kinship and friendship with the taxi team, we really felt that. We really felt the people on the ground really cared, and saw them engaging, interacting with the taxi drivers, and we felt that, hey, this is a story that should be told. So we also found that taxi drivers work really long hours and they hardly see their families, right? So we came out with this idea where we said, what if other way around? What if today My Taxi, the team, marketing team, became taxi drivers for the taxi drivers themselves? What if we could take them on a wonderful ride and treat them for a nice surprise to the family? So we actually coordinated, and this was like credit to the taxi team. We came out with the idea, but we told them, listen, we can't do this. We can't do this on our own. We need organizing this for us as well. So they base of a few select taxi drivers. We found stories and found out who families were, and some of this lady thumbnail, I think the family was from Johor. We actually got them to KL, and then we sort of like a surprise video. We told them, oh, you're coming to My Taxi office to pick up some VIPs, right? But when they found out the VIPs were their families, and we said, taxi driver, and we took them out to the zoo, took them out to theme park, amusement centers, whatever. So they had, and the sense of authenticity was really there. And yeah, this video taxi drivers had of my taxi. This film story, but it's more than the video. It's actually a reflection of the team in my taxi. Couldn't have done it without the team, the marketing team themselves. That's kind of like very important. So that's my point. For tip number two, take a risk. You take a risk. Put some skin in the game. Any questions on the Jamboard? No questions yet. Cool. Tip number three, know your budget. Really one, we are not here to cheat your money one. A lot of time, this is actually a delicate balance, right? Like, well, how much does it cost? Do I tell them all that I have? It's kind of like poker, right? And how much does a video cost? I've seen a video cost 30 grand. I've seen it cost 300 grand. We've done videos that were anything from 30 grand to 3 million, right? But the most annoying question that you get from brands when you get a brief is, we don't want to limit your creativity with the budget. It's like absolute kryptonite. So I'm just reaching out to all of you guys, and I know that you guys will be very, very successful brands in the future. Just want to reach out to you and tell you now, please don't use this line on your creative team or your advertising agency. We work best in tight sandboxes. You know what that means is that confines must be stated very clearly. What are your objectives? And then we will let us play within that sandbox. It's fine. It's fine if we know your budget. We can help you get the best for the budget, right? I'll give you an example of like, so this is the most shared meme in the advertising world, right? And I'm sure you guys have seen one form or another of this: client budget, client expectation. But I just want to shift the perspective and perception is meme a little bit. Actually, right, I find the picture on the left pretty damn hilarious, the client budget part. And if what's wrong with doing, have that budget, let's roll with that budget as we can with the money that you have. Give you an example, a couple of examples. This one is very recent, right? Subway Malaysia. It's done by our friends at Vayner Media. So probably one of the latest and most entertaining examples of no budget. So they created a story where cut the advertising agency's budget, you have more meat in your themselves, good look at their budget, and they just made it work. All the rules of marketing and advertising they broke because they had no budget, right? Like using coins, which is like buying half a billboard ad, things like that. Doing low budget videos. Be transparent with what you have, and see what we can do. Number 4, know your KPIs. So our question comes up. We didn't say it. Oh, we don't have how it's in sales. So yeah, this is very important. A lot to awareness. 9 out of 10 times is probably awareness for advertising, but there will be times when it comes back where, oh, there's a lot of traction, a lot of shares for the story, the idea we came up with, but people are not buying it. And yeah, sure, if we identify that, that's great, because identify that it's great because you actually right, exactly kind of dynamics. If you start an app or you constantly have patches, you improve, you find challenges and problems to solve, and you build on it. Now that you have the awareness, maybe we can move on to the next phase of actually getting, how do we retain their attention? How do we actually get them to transact after that? So there are many, many stages to it. And we can, if you have the KPIs for each stages or each instances, the clearer it is, the better the idea or the results. So Yeah, sometimes we fall in love for the wrong reason. I think this is something that is kind of not really obvious, but important to know. So maybe you saw a reference that like the challenge with that we face is that everything's on the internet, right? Ideas, great ideas, and then you see a lot of cases everywhere. And maybe you want to say, I want something like this. And that's like the most dangerous statement to have, say to your most dangerous statement to say to your agency. Thing is that maybe you saw an agency's portfolio and say, wow, everyone's going to show you our best work, right? And if you benchmark on that specific brand, that specific piece of work, and say, I want something like that too. Why can't you give me that? That's also really tough. I think every challenge is unique. I think the portfolio and the work is it's a good benchmark and ambition, but we got to know when to use it or how yours can be truly unique. Understand that results are the result of a larger ecosystem. So there are many things at play, and that's the challenge we face as agencies. I suppose it's quite that the billing model is complex or can be confusing, can be to a lot of brands and clients as well. The most basic way is you pay on time based on the time you spend on the project, or most times nowadays because it's a project-based campaign, we tell you this is our fee and we'll handle this. Sometimes there are agencies who are experimenting with performance remunerations. So those are interesting, but I haven't seen any success out of this in Malaysia so far. Back to the point of results are the result of a large ecosystem. There's so many moving parts. It's from the client's end to the agency's end as well. So to benchmark the agency advertising campaign based on a specific result can be quite scary. Can be quite scary. Can be quite unrealistic. I feel. Sure, advertising. There's an old saying, right? And it's still true today. I know half of my 50% of my advertising works. The problem is I don't know which 50% it is. That's kind of true as well. It's building a brand, right? Building brand time. Sometimes you get immediate results. Sometimes it takes a while to build up. Yeah. Another point here is sometimes mistakes can bring better results because we learn from it. So don't turn your agency, make your agency your sparring partner. A lot of times, oh, I didn't bring results. Find out why and build on it. Sometimes when you learn from it, then you make the next campaign even better. Look at the peripheral, it didn't hit the results intended. Oh, but actually there were some interesting learnings here. People actually, the comment section actually spoke about stuff. We discovered some stories about the brands in the comment sections and the customers and the feedback. Let's use that. So yeah, if you have a challenge mindset to actually talk about the results, whether good or bad, and have an open point of view, say, okay, how do we make this better the next round? Tip number 5, we just want to hang with the cool kids. So yeah, agencies are more than, I'll tell you a little secret, right? Agencies are more than happy to be for chat, right? Just to have coffee and talk to people and network and meet startups, without the pressure of a pitch. And it's great, right? It's great to have young, up and coming brands just to show that big brands like Coca-Cola or Ford or shampoo, we do some interesting brands as well, and they would love to have it. So in an agency world, yeah, a lot of times we have to change the portfolio. It's a business, right? And a lot of times, yeah, it's an odd dynamic. Often we get to do both. It's kind of weird. There are a lot of times that we wish that we could do, have some fun to play, explore and take risks. Yeah, we're more than happy to do some happiness. Startups in the agencies, finalists. And this is something that to remember. This is something that we live by. Cheap, fast, good. Choose two. You can't go wrong if you go this route. All right. If you want it cheap and fast, okay, then let's do some battle. Let's let go of quality as long as it's clear and impactful. If you want fast and good, yeah, then we have to pay a premium to get people to work double time. A bit of lead time so we can build it. Yeah, so roughly this dynamic definitely works for the agency relationship. So this the next example. When we go back to the Jamboard, it's the one that says Traveloka. This little story here was really a little nice piece of serendipity. We were actually shooting a year-end travel sale campaign for Traveloka, and during the break time with the clients, they were just telling us about this story. So one of the clients was saying that, I thought of this story, and this story was about mother and a daughter who runs a hawker stall. And then we just said, oh, that's an interesting premise. What if it was this? What if it was that? And we just started talking. We scripted it on the spot, and then we call her bosses in Indonesia. The idea, we love it. We really like it. And what do you think? They said that they were thinking of doing this production on their own because I was talking to the in-house creative team. Then we said, you know what? Don't worry about it. Whatever amount you have, we would love to see. If you have no money to pay, it's fine. We'll use all the funds for the production. We really want this in our portfolio. We want in the can. And because of our enthusiasm and we really wanted to bring this idea. In the end, the founders actually did give it because they really appreciated our effort and energy put into it. This piece is one of my personal favorites because of the story that was brought to life, but also the way it was done. It was so casual, great relationship, dynamic. We just had the idea on the spot. We called that. So yeah, it was really hang with the cool kids, okay? And we chose this as a fame job rather than a fortune job. Your agencies. The thing, right? When you ask for a RFI, request for, I don't even know what it stands for actually. RFP, RFI, yeah, they always said all this. Request for proposal, request for proposals, yeah. And then we will send our best work, right? Everyone will say we're a holistic agency. We do everything. We do end to end. We do, yeah. So every agency will sound like WeChat, right? WeChat, you can do everything, right? You can order taxis to getting your groceries to splitting bills, yeah. There's no hard and fast rules. I think the first advice I would give for this point is that go for the people who are working on your project. Talk to people around you, do your research, have conversations. Yeah, there's always one agency for someone for some agency for someone out there, for sure. To pitch or not to pitch? Quite tiring to pitch for a project, right? It's nice to get the attention of, oh wow, 3 agencies knocking on my door. It can be quite tiring for all parties as well. And then you have the whole debacle about pitch fees, right? So some agencies require a pitch fee for the work, fair enough. A lot of times, because it's such a competitive landscape, agencies are hungry for clients. So a lot of agencies say, it's cool, we'll give you a proposal without pitch fee because they want a shot at it. And yeah, this can be taken advantage of quite often. So hard and fast rule about pitch or not to pitch. It's good to maybe just pitch, but don't do it too often. So and evaluate. Back to the first point. So all these points are interrelated, right? The first point was we don't anything or everything, right? And it's very hard to evaluate on the output of work on the level of creativity. Yes, maybe level of creativity, but how accurate the piece of work is, you're never going to get it at the chemistry and collaboration. I think the most important thing is the team working on it as well. Are they the actual team? A lot of time, of course, we want to put again our best foot forward, but how involved are the seniors in it? Who is the working team as important as who are the leads, right? One of the most interesting pictures that we've been to, yeah, for Maxis, surprisingly. So the pitch was 50% work. So the second half of the pitch, they paired us up, the agency, with their team and actually worked on the spot solutions just to see how, and then towards the end, when they evaluated the agency, tasked to say, who did you like to work with? Who did you solving and figuring out problems with? And I thought, hey, actually, brand often. Do work you love with people that you love. Yeah, we understand that startups might in-house eventually, or you guys are already in-housing a lot of the things. Um, we knew that eventually My Taxi, when they got funding, they became Grab, one of the most expensive things, right? I'll give you all is comfortable collection of people. Okay, I agency for this thing, agency. I think I'll keep them for this, agency C is good for this. Have a blog. The next example, this is late entry into the deck, but I've been very entertained by this brand. People of doing work with, you can tell that they really have fun. You can tell that they're up for having some fun. And I can almost feel like, the chemistry production crew as they brought this to life. It's really, really insane, like the engagement. And so random. If you look at the Jamboard, it's it says on page 2, it's Lapar Pro, Lapar Pro. Yeah, it's on Lapar Pro. So that's just the trailer. But I'm personally so hooked onto this series now. It's just a parody of KL Gangster. It's called Ipoh Gangster. And it just revolves around a bunch of gangsters who beat each other up and all that. But it's for a low budget second-hand laptop store. Repair laptop repairs and second-hand laptops. It's super random, and I love it. So I don't know how much it's, but I thought it was really, really smart, very engaging. So yeah, to wrap up, 6 essential tips. Know that we don't have all the answers, and by we, you all should think of yourselves as and the agencies as counterpoints as a we, and figure out going to each relationship with a mindset of curiosity. Ask questions, encourage your agency to ask questions as well, and be open about the solutions that you can arrive at. Number 2, know that you are taking a risk, and you, the founders, the leads, put some skin in the game. Be ready to hustle, be ready to front the campaigns, and be ready to actually stand out, because actually the biggest risk is being boring. Number 3, know your budget. Know your budget. I know you know your budget. Tell us the budget and work with us with the budget as well. We can make it work. And it's an increasingly complex environment where PR, events, advertising, Facebook, YouTube videos, media buys, outdoors. Yeah, it can be complex. So yeah, know your budget and what you want to spend. Know your KPIs. That's also important. Um, want to hang with the cool kids? Yeah, so just talk to agencies and just get to know. And number 6, know your agency. What kind of agency do you need? I'm going to close with a couple of quick Q&As that I reached out to some friends and some people who are in startups, and just to ask them how they feel about this. Tech, they are MarTech, marketing tech. So they agencies are their clients, right? So what he says here is startups being cowboy town. Well, startups being cowboy town, everything is all over the place. But when you do communication, structure is important. This goes into an entire brand exercise because that's what brand identity does. Human and structures your company culturally, internal and external, so that always has to be fixed. What is your vision, mission, purpose, values? Now, startups may have this or not, but writing it down is important because that's how you can communicate who you are to someone else. Basically, you have to have a. Of course, agencies can help you with that, but that's where things. Then from there, you break down your communications to different stakeholders, investors, internal accelerators, mentors, customers, different types of customers. Ultimately, that's how you get them to buy. Or as they're saying, people buy what you believe, not what you sell. Yeah, Adman, legendary Adman, and always inspired by how he constantly reinvents himself. So right now, he's also head of marketing for what's that? Big stuff. Yeah. So I just wanted to ask him from his lens how what found kind of similar, understanding the different types of agencies, digital design, media, marketing, advertising, social, cost structures, know their own marketing needs before engaging an agency, setting KPIs, the importance of data. Ergo, founding CMO Grab. When you're at a startup, you generally hire marketing folks, generally growth-based focused individuals. Yeah, you're in growth mindset, you're hiring. Basically, you're a bunch of hustlers. You just gotta have to hit the numbers, hit the audience, hit the sales. When you look for an agency, you add to life with creative flair. Your guys know the customer. Your guys is in your marketing team. You might know what needs to be said. All the lead people, sorry, typo, people to have more empathy for your brand. The thought is there, what you want to achieve, but it's the content and intent that will make it memorable. So yeah, taking risks, standing out, innovation, creativity, tight deadlines, late nights, coffee, and other bad habits. Does it sound like you guys? It sounds like an agency as well. So don't you think we have to? I want to leave all of you with this imagination. And yeah, I hope all the best to all of you all. I hope that this session has been interesting. Do we have any questions? How do we feel?
Thanks so much, Woei Hern. Okay, so we're opening the floor to questions. Did anybody have any questions? Whether you wanted to just unmute your mic and share yourself, so otherwise type it out in the chat or on the Jamboard.
Yeah, I mean the Jamboard is just there so that when this chat goes off, you all still have something to refer to. But yeah, I'm fine to take questions in any forms and any platforms.
Anything? Or you can raise a hand, whichever. Okay, I've got a question maybe to just kickstart. So having been in the agency, on the agency side as well, I suppose what are the red flags when it comes to determining whether the relationship will work? Or not? Yeah, particular flags.
are the red flags to determine whether you're headed down a. I guess one red flag is, I suppose, when you constantly see different people on it. You don't have a constant team working with you. That would be one red flag. Like there's no consistency, right, in the relationship and the leads. So that would be one red flag, I suppose. Um, Second red flag would probably be um, misalignment in delivery timing. Like so I want this at timing A and goals shift. And this is probably a red flag. Uh, and the third one is, I guess, if you don't have candor, like if you don't have, you don't feel like laying it out straight up. You don't feel like saying, "Here's a problem we have here. How do we solve this?" If you don't have that kind of chemistry, or you can't even approach them, or it's kind of like, it's important to have like I suppose that you're building a relationship. It's like a dating. So sometimes you have the pressure is immense, right? When you go on the beach, means, oh my god, I have to commit to these guys for 2 years. Uh, what if it doesn't work, right? So the stress is very high. But if you actually do projects with you, like you build a familiarity to the people you work with, and you say, okay, yeah, I think that's one way as well.
Okay. Any other questions?
On a
Hi,
Saturday.
I have a question.
So,
Hi, can you hear me?
yep.
Okay, Supri's here. So, so I've been thinking about this. So, if you were to reach out to, because a lot of smaller agencies as well, boutique agencies nowadays is
Yep.
quite common. So how do you know which ones are good? So any signs that, because I'm sure some of them are pretty good or really good agencies, but since they're very small, maybe they don't have the experience to back it up, or they don't have a very diverse portfolio yet because it's still new. But how can you tell from the good ones apart from the bad ones?
So the question is, how do you find the right one? I'm not sure. I don't think there are any, for me lah, that when you say there's a bad agency, right, it's usually a wrong fit, I feel. So I feel that it's just finding the right fit and the right person. So how do you tell? If you reach out to them, it's great. I mean, if I was running a startup, I would definitely reach out to indies, because for me, you get the attention of experienced individuals who are committed, uh, and and they are quick. So how do you know if they're good? I think if they're trying to build a portfolio, you can just come go and have a chat. What have you done before? What's your background? It's kind of like an interview, casual interview, right? They might not have experience in their current agency because they're new and they're setting up, but I'm sure they've done some enough work for them to be confident enough to go solo. So yeah, you can just baseline on the done as well. Um, Founding leads, creative leads, you can actually ask around and do a quick check to see um, what is the work that they've done in their portfolio. Ultimately, you only know when you give it a yeah.
Yeah, just gotta jump in head first, right, and see what happens.
Okay. Yeah, you just got to find. So the point is to find someone you're comfortable taking that risk. If you feel like, yeah, they're good, but imagine stay. So imagine, right, like if it's middle of the night and you guys are in the studio finishing up a piece of work, can you imagine being with these guys throughout the whole project? It's important, right? Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay, do you have any more questions? Don't be shy.
You all can just reach out later on as well. Usually some questions come a little bit later, I know. So yeah, you can just reach out to
Oh, sorry. I actually have one more question, but I'm kind of flipping it around. So I'm not sure this is relevant to the topic because we're talking about approaching agencies, but because what I'm doing, I'm technically an agency as well, but I don't do marketing. I do consultancy for something that's very new in Malaysia, which is gamification. And
nice.
so how do you, as an agency, how do you start? What's like the first few things that you should start with to kind of get it running in the right direction? Because this is something I've been kind of like going back and forth a lot. So I hope this is a question that is allowed in this topic.
I think it's fine, right?
No question is a bad question.
That's right.
Curveball.
The question is, what's the best way to get started if you want to be known for a certain type of, if you want to be known for work, right?
Yep. Sounds about right.
Yeah, it's a lot of talking at the start, a lot of talking to a lot of people. Admire my MD when we first started out, like he would to clients with pieces of work that wasn't even ours. He would say, these are the work that we admire, and these are the type of work that we want to do. And I'm sitting there like, oh my God, man, that's horrible. How can we promise them that? We have nothing in our portfolio. That's like, but I really admire the kind of tenacity and belief he had. So that's probably one way that you have, just be brave about what you have to offer. The second thing is, for me, how I'm personally comfortable with is letting the work do the talking. So I was really happy that when we did get a chance to, when few brands gave a shot at doing the work, then we really made it count and let the work do the talking. So for me, it's about that as well. So really have a strong conviction and like, how would you actually make people remember what you offer? Second thing is try to get some work out that you can have in your portfolio, the right brands, the right PR for the work that you do. Nothing is better than letting your work do.
Okay, thank you. That's really good advice.
Okay. There are no more questions. Just like to thank him for his time today. I think that was really, really insightful, especially for startups who are very, very new to engaging agencies in the first place. It is a miss, as you and I both know. So finding that right fit and knowing how to curate that conversation is really important. So thank you so much, Wei Hern, for your time.
Thank you. Have a great weekend, guys.
Thank you.